Hey everybody, it's Daryl with TMD Realty. I thought it was time that I do a public services announcement about what's it like as a buyer in 2021 looking at homes in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So what I did, I talk about Collin County all the time. I just pulled stats in the last 90 days from 200,000 to 500,000, there's just been over 4,000 sales of homes. But I wanted to narrow it down further just because of the way our MLS, or multiple listing system, works here in Dallas. So from 200 to 400,000, there were like just under 2,400 homes that sold. And that's probably where that's a little over half of what sold in the last 90 days. Just to point that out. And I'm going to talk about extreme cases. Extreme case, home really in bad shape. I saw it go for as low as 79% of the list price. In extreme, 115% of the list price. So that means someone paid 15% more than the list price. Now, is that where most are going? No. I'm seeing 103, 104% in general over list price. So easy math. If a house were 100,000 and it sold for 4% over, an extra 4,000. So $200,000 house, that'd be eight. But I'm seeing them sell for more than that generally. I've had buyers I've shown homes and they made offers of 10, 15,000 over, not gotten them. So just know it's all about the net to the seller. Offering more money on list price isn't always giving the seller the highest net. Sometimes you need to strategize with your agent. Now, you just have to know what can you handle? What's the maximum that you can come with out of pocket? When you buy a home, there's title insurance, and typically the seller pays that. You're going to have survey, which is basically an outline of the property that you're buying to make sure that there's nothing encroaching on your property. A service contract, a lot of times most buyers agents try and get in there. We'll just go with an average of about $500 for that. And what that does is it covers your HVAC, plumbing, and electrical for 12, 13 months. So those are some items. If you offer to pay for title insurance, and typically the one that pays for title gets to choose where it closes. In this market, maybe you agree to pay for it and choose where the seller wants to go. You pay for the survey because that benefits the buyer, not the seller, if they don't already have one. And the service contract, maybe you pay for that out of your pocket. That in addition to offering over list price. A quick close always helps. Now, I never suggest an appraisal waiver. I know that there's some folks putting offers in and they're waiving appraisal, or they're agreeing, hey, we have an appraisal addendum now, and some will say, hey, as long as it appraises at this value, I'll pay the difference. And now agents actually have an addendum to put in. As long as it appraises for this, I'm good. And that just says this is the minimum that you're going to work with. If it appraises for that, say that you're offering 250, and in your appraisal addendum you say, hey, as long as it appraises for 240, I'm okay, meaning you'll pay the difference. That's one strategy. Not one I personally suggest, but it's a strategy. The other thing is, a lot of sellers, they may be building a home, and because of COVID, there's some delays for even things such as windows, things you wouldn't think about. Windows, bricks, there's labor shortages, lumber shortages, all kinds of material shortages. So say you give the seller 15 to 30 days at no cost. That's another strategy you could use to maybe win an offer. Now, when you're buying a home and you're going to occupy it as an owner, you have to be in there by day 61, or that's considered mortgage fraud. Ask your lender, because there's an affidavit you sign at closing that says you're going to occupy, I think it's within 61 days of closing and funding. So some other strategies. Now, I personally wouldn't go 60 days and not have the seller pay something, but when you're in a multiple offer situation, we're seeing a lot of that. I've seen as few as 13 on a property to as many as 51 on one that I personally was involved in. I've heard of others over 70 offers. So it's a crazy market. This isn't a message to discourage you if you're looking at buying. It's just letting you know what it's like, being prepared. And if you're a seller, knowing this, just know you don't have to settle. Now, if your home's not in good shape, buyers are picky. So if you're not, and when I say not good shape, it's fallen down, there's rotted wood, things not working in the home. Now, that's another strategy, buyers. There may be some things that you can say, hey, I can deal with repairing X. I'm willing to spend $1,500 of my own money or whatever. And decide that whenever you make an offer and look at the inspection, because you should always get an inspection. See what you're getting. Now, if it's roof, HVAC, foundation and plumbing, roof, it has to be insurable. Plumbing, most people worry more about the roof and HVAC, but the things that can really hurt you, literally, are plumbing. It can cause flood, sewer backup. Electrical could actually cause death in extreme cases. Not saying that's the case with electrical issues, but a lot of people emphasize on the roof. Yeah, that's important. Yeah, foundation's important, but plumbing and electrical, those things can be sources of fire and major damage. And plumbing can cause those issues too. But as you're out there looking, those are just some things to think about. Strategize with your agent when you're out looking. And if you're looking at $200,000 homes, you're probably not going to be able to get that home for $205 if it's at $200. And a lot of cases you'll run into cash buyers, so just know that right there is an issue. So that's why I mentioned all these other strategies. Talk with the agent you're working with. Maybe you buy a little less house than you were thinking of. And I'm going to preface this with saying this is not promising a profit, but generally speaking, right now, we have 365 people a day moving here. You buy a home now, we have that many more people projected to move here per day, 365 a day through 2029. So if that's the case and there's no major economic upheaval, you should have some equity in the future. So maybe you buy a little less now with the hopes that you'll be able to buy your dream home in a few years. Now, of course, it's going to go up in value. And rates are at all-time lows now. So maybe you buy a little more home than you planned on. Or maybe you buy a little less home because the prices have risen so much and you're comfortable with a certain payment. And I'll just say, because I've had some conversations with folks looking at $200,000, $300,000 homes, and they're wanting a home with a payment of under $1,500 a month. And this isn't me telling you what a house payment's going to cost. Unfortunately, it's not in that range. You'll want to talk with your loan officer about that. But I want you to get out there before you go looking. Have your lender look at 200, 250, 300, 325 to give you an idea of what your payment's going to be, so you know what you're comfortable with, and going in knowing that you're going to pay more than list price 99% of the time. Sometimes you run across a motivated seller, even in a great market like this. Hope that was good information. If I can be of any help, my information's at the end of here. Look forward to speaking with you. Have a great one.